Good evening to you all. I am Saju Thomas. I will be teaching your class 12th computer science for the year 2021. First of all, I would like to introduce the syllabus for your ISC examinations. Computer science, code number 868. Here it is given the last year syllabus, class 11th, where you had 70 marks theory questions as well as 30 marks internal assessment. In the theory chapters, you had the computer hardware related to the number systems. Then second one was encodings, converting numbers from one system to another one. Then the representation of the number in the computer's memory. Then encodings. After that, Boolean algebra, propositional logic, or the hardware implementation. Then you had introduction to the Java programming. Then related to the objects. Then primitive values, wrapper classes, typecasting, variables and expressions, arrays, strings, single dimensional array, as well as double dimensional arrays. Then you had a recursion chapter. In the board examination of class 12, definitely you will be having near about 15 marks questions from recursion chapter. Then we are proceeding to the class 12th syllabus. In the class 12th syllabus, Boolean algebra will be there, which you have studied somewhat in class 11th. Same will be there plus something extra. Second one, computer hardware, the logic gates. Then we proceed to the programming section. In the programming section, whatever we had in the class 11, the syllabus will be there as it is in class 12th also. Class 12th is a continuation of class 11, the syllabus. This is more important, which you have to remember. Then we have a data structure. Data structure is one of the important thing which you have to study in class 12th. After that, recursive data structure, which includes binary tree, etc. Here also you will be having practical examinations of 30 marks. Remember, the paper is coming from the ISC board, and the same question paper I will show you what has come in 2019. So let's see the 2019 theory papers question paper. See, it is of 70 marks. Part 1, 20 marks. All the questions are compulsory. Then it will be including Boolean algebra. Then one question of the recursive function, which will be therefore finding out the output and all. It is of 5 marks, strictly from the recursive functions. Then Boolean algebra questions are there. Then when we are proceeding to the second part, section B, programming, you have to write the programs in Java. Each and every questions will be carrying 10 marks each. Here also you will be having a question which is to be solved by using the recursive functions. Minimum one question will be there, but can be 2 questions also. Then the questions can be related to strings, arrays, double dimensional array, classes, objects, etc. When we are coming to the second part, section C, from where we have to answer only two. Here we will have questions related to inheritance, then data structure, as well as the recursive data structure. This part contains 10 marks. That means 2 questions you have to attend, which is of 5 marks. Now, this is about the theory paper. Optional questions are there. We proceed to the practical paper. Paper 2, practicals. 3 hours duration will be there. You will be given with 3 programming questions. Out of this, you have to solve only 1. And your marks will be 30. It's the time to begin our studies. We have lost few valuable classes, but through the online classes we will try our level best to complete few chapters at least. Let's begin our current year portions with the chapter inheritance. What is inheritance? You know, inheritance is one of the concepts of object-oriented programming. You have already studied the different concepts of the OOPS, object-oriented programming. We know their abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, polymorphism, modularity, etc. What is inheritance? We studied earlier. Inheritance is the way of extending the classes. Or we know inheritance is the mechanism through which one class is deriving the qualities of another class. As the definition says here, inheritance is a mechanism that allows a class to derive the properties of another class. And the class from which we are deriving the property is known as the base class. Or we say that it is a superclass. The class which is derived, that is known as derived class or subclass. This relationship, this inheritance, is one of the concepts which we can see there in the real world. If we say some examples, we can say that the parent-child relationship, that is an example for the inheritance, where the father is the base class and the son is the derived class. You know the characteristics what father has. Maybe the parents are having a good height. Sometimes they will be having a balded head, or they may be having different, complexion. These all qualities, these all characteristics may be going to the next generation. Child also will have a good height or whatever qualities I said. See, we say child is looking alike the papa, or child is looking alike mother. How we will say? Because he got those qualities from his parents. When we come to the advantages of inheritance, why do we need inheritance? Let us see. One is extending the classes, or extending the generation from the previous example what I said. The qualities of the parent is gone to the son, and from the son to the grandson. Those qualities are carried forward. Now, second one is reusability. For this I will take another one example for the inheritance. Suppose your grandfather has made a house which you are living nowadays. See, few years back, when we had that house, or means when he has constructed that house, it was of only 3 rooms and only one floor, that is the ground floor only. Then your father has done some modification, some extensions he did. He made those 3 rooms into 5 rooms in the ground floor and made the first floors. So first quality we are seeing there. What is that? Extending the class. He extended the house with one more story and with extra few rooms. Now, reusability. Now you can see reusability is clear from there. You are living there with your parents. The house which was made by our grandfather is reused by your father as well as you. Okay, the example is very clear there. Now, later on, when your chance comes, you are making the house into 3-story building. Okay, again what happened? Extending the same building with one more story and a few more rooms. Reusability is again visible there. The grandfather made house is there. Those rooms are reused again by you, your father and the grandfather at the same time. Then after that we come to the next point, which is transitive relationship. What is this transitive relationship? The relationship, not a direct one, but it is in the indirect. Okay, take this example from the one what I said right now, grandfather, father and the grandson. Okay, you are going with your grandfather, father and the grandson for a walk. On the way he is meeting some of his friends, grandfather, and he is saying with much enthusiasm and happiness that he is walking with his own 2 children. 2 children means what? He is saying, Dekho, these are all my friends, these are all my children. See, these are my children. How? For the grandfather, you are his son. How? Indirectly. Through your father, you became the son of your grandfather. So that kind of a relationship from you to your grandfather is known as transitive relationship. Okay, our building is standing there with the ground floor, first floor and the second floor. Okay, our ground floor is saying to the second floor that I am fed up with you, I am carrying you always, from tomorrow I will not carry you. Then what will the second floor say? Don't worry, you need not carry me, you need not support me, I am supported by the first floor. Okay, there is a cold war between them. And our ground floor is withdrawing the support. What will happen to the building, you say? Building will just collapse. That means the ground floor was supporting the second floor indirectly, transitively. Okay, I think points are very clear. Now see the fourth point, which is inheritance relationship. But what all I said right now, grandfather, father and the grandson, that kind of a relationship is possible through the inheritance. This inheritance policy is possible only when we are having a concrete class. What is concrete class means? A class which is firm enough, which has got no errors, can be reused in another program. See, classes are deriving the characteristics as well as the behavior from another class. Okay, now it's the time to go to see the different forms of inheritance. The first form of the inheritance is the single inheritance. You can see the definition is there. When a subclass inherits only from one base class. Just to take the example, you and your father. You are the subclass, your father is the base class. So only those two are there. Here you can see the diagram, X as well as the Y. X stands for your father and Y, you. X, your father or your parent, is the base class, and Y, you are the child or the subclass. I told you one more name is for the base class, that is superclass. Subclass is having another name, that is derived class. So the qualities of the class X can be taken to the class Y through inheritance. And when only two classes are there, one base class and one child, or the derived class, we will say that it is single inheritance. So I think that point is clear. Multiple inheritance. Point number 2, multiple inheritance. Two base classes are given there. One is X, second one is Y, and the child or the derived class subclass is Z. Okay. Just imagine the relationship between you and your parents. X, your father, Y, mother, and the Z, that is you. We have two base classes and one derived class. This is the model of multiple inheritance. But remember one thing, this multiple inheritance is not part of our Java, which cannot be represented in our Java, but we have certain other methods for implementing that we will see. Next, point 3 is hierarchical inheritance. When many subclasses inherit from a single base class, it is known as hierarchical inheritance. The diagram shows it very clearly to you. Z is the base class, W, X and Y are the subclasses. Okay. Again, when you are going to see next point, multi-level inheritance. In multi-level inheritance, you just imagine the relationship what I said earlier. Our grandfather again comes there. Grandfather, father, as well as the grandson. X stands for the grandfather. Y stands for the father. And the Z stands for the grandson. Okay, now we can say our father has got a base class as our grandfather. We got a base class as our parent, our father. So we can say we are indirectly, the Z is indirectly related to the X. This point is the one which I said earlier, that is transitive relationship. The relationship from the Z to the X is known as transitive relationship. Okay, see whatever points I said so far, 4 models of inheritance I said. You can see for each and every one of them are having an example in the real world. That's why we say object-oriented programming language is close to the real world. Everything has got an example. Okay. Hybrid one. Okay. Hybrid inheritance. Whenever we are having one base class which has got 2 children, or we can say 2 different classes have got one base class, and those 2 derived classes are the base class for somebody. See the first diagram there, W, W, then it has got 2 children, the X and the Y. After that we have a Z. W is the base class of X and Y. X and Y are the base class of Z. Hybrid inheritance. Next again, A, B, C are 3 base classes. They have got one child, one subclass D. Then again the D has got E and F. See, these are the different types of inheritance. The relationship between the base class as well as the derived class is referred to as derivation or inheritance hierarchy. The relationship between a base and a derived class is referred to as derivation or inheritance hierarchy. A derivation from base class is referred to as a derivation or inheritance graph. Please learn this definition. So I would request you as early as possible, you please buy the textbook from the market and get ready with your notes and revise whatever I have explained today. So with some more points we will see in the next class.